two, three, four. One, 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 two, three, four.
One.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode number 150, halfway to episode 200 of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and to play. I'm one of your four hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novacell.
Are you sure we're not halfway to 300?
You know, I heard
we're at
myself say it out
150.
loud, and I realized I didn't do that right. But you know, if you started counting from 100, it would be halfway, right?
All right.
Everything
I got
before
you.
100 was hot trash, anyways. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't really get it until episode 100, right?
If you've gotten it, congratulations. 'Cause I still haven't gotten it.
That's fair.
No, I'm faking it till I make it.
Yeah,
Halfway
that's the only
to
way to do it.
300. 300, I figure we'll make it by then. On his left and my right, and also the final member of the GMG quadfecta, who is present.
It's who is
How does
present.
grammar work? English grammar. Who is present? Thank you. He is
You're
someone who's got music in his heart, Apex Legends on his brain, and La Carreta in his old stomacho. Marc Boucher.
You know, I think after this podcast is over, I think I'm going to take up jet skiing. I think that'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I understood that reference.
Hey!
It's a good one.
Hey-o. Good one. All right. The only one who is not with us, only with us in spirit, is the volleyball and beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less or your money back, Ronnie Johantis. He has not finished Loki yet. Therefore, he was not invited to the party. So, sorry.
Yep, we had the bouncer to boot him out.
He just couldn't make it. So, it is what it is. We miss you, brother. Hope we can see you next week and you can give your spoiler-filled thoughts on Loki. So let's jump into what's new news, what is going on, and as is tradition, very few podcast episodes. I'm going to lead off, if you guys are all right with that. Any
Oh.
objections?
I suppose.
No objections, but man, that's a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right? Just throwing it at you and just seeing what happens, seeing what sticks, what hits the fan, where we go.
Switch it up.
I
Keep
don't
it
know. I better
fresh.
stop.
I like
Okay.
it.
That's right. Keeping it fresh, keeping it real. Yeah, guys. So it's a new week, and here we are. Good to be here with you. Happy, and if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So my dog's asleep, and thank you for that. Oh, I meant to clap my hands too. So I missed that one. I got.
Hey, he's
Apparently I
the
wasn't
only one who
happy.
asked. He wasn't obliged to actually
Yeah,
clap
yeah.
his hands. So
Right.
No, but yeah, I'm happy and I know it for sure. I'm clapping my hands. Life is getting a little bit back to normal. We had a wonderful 5 or 6 weeks with my in-laws. Lots of family time, lots of games, movies, conversations, great food together when fellowship was shared. They had a nice visit, and then they went back to the USA. We're like, love you. See you next time. Bye-bye now. Hope you find your dad, all those things.
Yeah.
And now I'm reaching some normalcy back in the household. There's still one more step to take. The kids and my beautiful wife, Mindy, need to, they need to have some school time, and I need to have my alone time and work time and the like. So, but we're going to be enjoying the next week or two. And we've been making the most of our time together, even after the in-laws headed back. And I was thinking about how much, actually, even when the in-laws were here, how in the past 3 weeks, I've seen 3 movies in the movie theater. And that is some
Wow.
kind of
Whoa.
Making up for
Swisher
lost
record.
time.
Yeah. I'm just like, you know what? Let's just do this every week. Just make it a tradition for the next 52, now 49 weeks. I'm going to go a whole year seeing a movie in the movie theater every week. No,
Well,
that's
good
not
luck.
going to happen.
Good
I
luck.
know, right? I'm going to run out of good movies, and I'm going to see some real stinkers if I do that. But yeah, I think it's really cool that I've got to go to the theater. I know that some people are like, I'll just watch it at home. And I like watching a movie at home. But
Mhm.
man, there's nothing like sitting in the theater, watching the previews, eating some, popcorn you didn't have to make, covered in butter that you didn't have to melt,
Yeah.
and drinking a huge Coke that's
Walking across sticky
overpriced.
floors.
Actually, the price exchange. One way I try to feel good about my spending habits sometimes in Brazil is that I think I calculated that for us to get 4 tickets to go see the latest and greatest movie release that I will talk about in a moment, and to get popcorn and drinks, it cost $30. That's not too shabby,
No,
if
it's
I say so
not.
myself.
That's pretty good.
Considering 2 tickets, typically, for at least around here,
Yeah,
two
exactly.
tickets is close to that, plus like maybe half of your snacks. That's about $30.
Yeah.
Do you only buy half snacks?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it costs more than that.
like half a pack? Can I get your half a pack of M&Ms, like where someone's
I want
already eaten half
I
of
want
it?
a half
Please and thank you.
small popcorn.
Discount?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just give
Yeah.
me a huge bucket of popcorn, and then once you're done, just chop that in half.
Exactly.
And that's what I
I
want.
only want half
That'd
of
be-
it. Just
that'd
throw
be
the rest of
perfect.
it away.
Yep. I'm on a diet, so I'm cutting all my portions in half. Yeah, so we went to see Space Jam 2. And I will be honest that I went in actually feeling pretty positive. I had seen the trailers and I was like, you know what? It's not going to be the original. It's not going to be Michael Jordan with the tunes, with like the classic. It's not going to have, I doubt it's going to have Bill Murray. And I don't know if I should give any spoilers.
You
Maybe
could
I should.
spoil
Maybe
the
I
heck
shouldn't.
out of
Just
this.
spoil the heck out of it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think anybody cares at this point.
Yeah.
There's no living, breathing, acting Bill Murray. I want to say there's a picture somewhere, but nothing. There's references. There's a lot of references to the old Space Jam. There's a lot of references to everything. I think it has at least 10 times the references to pop culture, everything than the original Space Jam did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went in blind for the most part. I saw some, light reviews and thoughts online, but nothing major. I went in feeling pretty positive. I like LeBron James as a basketball player, as a athlete, as a entrepreneur, as a philanthropist.
Mhm.
Is that how you say it?
That is it.
Not
Philanthropist.
philanthropist. It's
No,
not
no.
tropist. It's therapist,
Yep.
which sounds really funny when you say half of it. I'm a therapist. Anywho, I know. I'm sorry. Patrick's rubbing his forehead. He's like,
You're
"Why
a
are
therapist
you?
of Philan?
What are you saying?" Okay. Anywho, I liked it, and my family liked it. We went away from it having laughed a lot. We went away from it. My son, all day today, the next day, was dribbling his basketball whenever he had the chance to.
Oh,
He was
really?
like,
That's cool.
I want to play some basketball, Dad. I'm like, you know what? To me,
Nice.
that is the sign of a good movie. If you leave a movie wanting to do what the people are doing, like when I left the movie Happy Feet, I wanted to be a dancing penguin. I'll be honest. I mean, for a hot minute, that was my dream, to be a dancing
right.
penguin. So I was just like,
One
you know what?
shining moment.
If I want to be a dancing penguin after I've done watching this movie, it's a good movie. And so my son wanting to play basketball, a good sign. Yeah, so we really enjoyed it. Made us laugh. I did feel very nostalgic with a lot of the references that they made to a lot of movies and Warner Brother IP that we all know and we don't always love, but is still familiar to us. And so seeing Matrix references and old Looney Tunes cartoons. I mean, I grew up with Looney Tunes, so whether it's Space Jam 1 or now Space Jam 2, like just give me more Looney Tunes. I don't mind that. Now, I have to be honest that it is definitely far from perfect. And I would go as far to say that this movie for me is probably going to be down the road considered a guilty pleasure, because I will definitely not ignore the fact that the acting at best is mediocre, that the animation sometimes gets a little weird and a little janky, as it were, kind of like them needing to fix their mouths in Horizon Zero Dawn. But I think that some of the shortcomings, most of the shortcomings are almost covered over by the fact that this story was heartfelt and it was about family. It was all about family, and I think that was really cool. That not only was it about family, but the past 3 movies now that I've seen are all about family, and I'm like, what is with this family theme we got going on in Hollywood? I'm all about it. Like, I'm liking it. So that helped pump it up for me. Yeah. So overall, I'm giving it, because of the experience, because of liking all the people and IP involved, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 posterized power plays. 7 out of 10. You heard it here first with me. However, I do know that there are other opinions in the crowd. Is this a good time for you to interject your thoughts and feelings, Patrick Novosel? Do you
Sure.
want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah.
chime in?
This is
as it were?
a perfect time. I wanted to give you the floor, and
Yep.
I wanted you to, talk about what
You're
you
very
liked about the movie.
respectful.
Sure.
I'll do the same.
Yeah.
Don't
maybe.
worry,
So-
guys. We're getting to Loki in a little bit.
Yeah. This is the Loki Spoilercast and Space Jam 2 spoiler.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. But Space Jam 2, the star of the show was Don Cheadle, 100%. He was the only actor who acted in the movie. The rest were awful, and there weren't many. I mean, there weren't many humans. The rest of them were the Looney Tunes, which by the way, the Looney Tunes were spelled Tune and not Toon. Like, I don't even know why it was spelled that way. Does anybody know why it was spelled Tune? Looney Tunes, like the music, rather than tunes, like cartoon. Whatever. But so that's strike one for me.
Gotcha.
And the way LeBron was like, and I am a dad where I want to support my kid in what they're doing. You could tell from the beginning of the movie that Dom, his youngest son, doesn't want to play basketball. His passion is in video games, which is like, I also have the passion of video games. So I understand when my son has a passion of certain things. I'm not going to push him to do baseball or basketball or whatever. I would love for him to do that, but if that's not his passion, then I at least want to get him exposed to it. So I didn't really like the way LeBron was being a father figure at the beginning, because he wasn't there. He wasn't there for his kids. It took him the entire movie to facing the ultimate universe's death before he realized how to be a good father. I'm like, that's a little extreme for you to finally figure out how to be a dad. But the plot was what didn't make any sense. Like, Don Cheadle was like, how about we play a game of basketball for the world? It's like, what made you think that this was the perfect decision to have to put the fate of the universe in basketball? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And here comes my son walking into the bedroom right now, or the room right now, and he loved it. He absolutely. I'm gonna say he loved the movie. He really did.
Clark's my man.
He's on
Appreciate you,
the
Clark.
same side as you, Lucas, where he really likes Space Jam 2. But as a guy who's seen several movies in his lifetime, I kind of understand when a good movie is a good movie and a bad movie should not be. All right.
Good night, Daddy.
All right. Good night, buddy.
Night, Clark.
Night, Clark.
I'll see you in the morning.
See you in the morning, too.
All right. Okay. You take your gold.
Is this real gold?
That's not real gold. No. No. The gold that you got in those little canisters, those little bottles. Yes, that's real gold. That's not real gold.
I know, but they painted.
Yeah, they painted it so make it look like gold and polished it. Yes, they did.
I think
Yeah.
you need to take that to the what are those guys that look at stuff and tell you what the value of it is?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
From
It's
from
a
When you
from Patrick's
reality show.
from Patrick's assessment
Yeah.
of Clark's
Yeah.
gold, it kind of sounds
Okay.
like his review of Space Jam 2.
Is it real gold?
Okay. All right, good night, buddy.
They polished it up to
not
make
real
it look
gold.
like gold, but it's not.
No. So yeah, they played a game of basketball, and the game of basketball that they played made no sense at all.
Wow, you
They're like,
sound like
"Oh,
LeBron
what-
right now.
He's trying to play a game of basketball, and then all of a sudden, one basket was like 800 points. I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense because the rest of the game, when they do a crazy play like that, that's 2 points. Or when Wile E. Coyote is like, hey, let me just replicate myself or replicate in all the balls, and all of a sudden here's 700 points. It's like this makes no sense, which makes the climax of the movie even worse because the the end of the movie they do like, hey, let's do this glitch, which didn't make any sense because the glitch did not hinder the villains, the opposing team, in any way. So they're like, oh, Bugs Bunny is going to die because of this glitch, and the glitch didn't even matter because Don Cheadle was just he pushed forward past the glitch, and I'm getting all fired up about this basketball game because it made no sense. And then when they're down by like 3 points or 2 points or whatever, 1 point, whatever, it's like it was very anticlimactic. Because there was no rules. I couldn't follow any rules. But like if they were to do a alley-oop half court, you would think that would be like a 500-point basket. But no, that's only 2 points. What made that different than the rest of the 400-point baskets that the opposing team was making? So like I couldn't really follow it because none of it made any sense. And that was the big thing with me because I was like, I can't follow this. Like if you said, hey, if this was a power up like NBA Jam, we're like, hey, this point, if you jumped from this point and this was a 20-pointer and you made the shot, okay, that's a 20-pointer. But if you're just making up rules as you go, and Don Cheadle is the whole mastermind behind this about like, hey, no matter what, you're going to lose this game. There was no rules. He could have been like, oh, you know what? You won the game, but I'm still going to delete everything. There's no reason why he should have just let him go anyways. Why did he let him go? Because there were no rules. So that's why this movie to me was a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 unbelievable rules.
And he's cleaning the blood off the knife. Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, every kid that watched this movie loved it. They're idiots. No.
I'm praying for you, Patrick.
But I get it from
no
my
longer
point of
a
view.
Toys R Us kid heart.
It was. I haven't seen Space Jam 1 in so long. Does it hold up? Probably not.
No, I watched it last year.
They did some references to the original movie, but it was like
They did a lot of references.
It stood alone.
Their Michael Jordan moment was hilarious. I laughed out loud.
That's another thing that really made me mad. They're
not?
like, oh, Michael
Why?
Jordan's gonna come. They have like that music coming, and it's Michael B.
It's
Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan walks out.
See, like that's another thing. Like, oh, that is a letdown because if they would have had Michael Jordan, I think this movie would have been a little bit better. But they had Michael.
There's no
B.
way
Jordan.
Michael Jordan
Why
would
not?
be on there. He is so full of himself. He would not be like a side character. Sorry, that's not how Michael Jordan rolls.
Michael A. Jordan versus Michael B. Jordan. Whatever.
No, but it was a funny joke. We laughed a lot.
It was not a joke.
Sorry,
it was not a funny joke.
Sorry, you didn't.
The kids, they don't even know who Michael Jordan is. Right over their head. Michael B. Jordan.
My kids know who Michael Jordan is because I educated.
Right over their head.
I educated my children who Michael Jordan is. It doesn't matter who Michael B. Jordan is. It's a matter of, guess what? We tricked you. Ha ha ha. And the kids got it. My kids got it because they're educated.
Land,
it landed for the Swishers. 4 out of 4.
4 out of 10.
So says you.
Yeah.
Why did I not bring popcorn to this? Come on.
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made more sense than Patrick is leading on, but this is a Loki Spoilercast, not a Space Jam 2 Spoilercast, which would be really fun
We
to
totally
break
did
down.
that.
I was going to say, we've totally made it that.
We totally did, yeah.
No, I have not responded to anything you've said. I let you say your piece, and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your perspective, even if I disagree with it 100%.
Sure.
But I still love you.
Got it. It's good.
It's good. It's great.
Too bad.
Yeah, so after we had that great moment of going to the theater together, this is the first time my family and I have gone to the theater since last January of 2020, 2 months before the pandemic, and watching Frozen 2 in Portuguese. We got to watch this in English because there was enough live action that they decided, the Brazilian movie authorities decided that it was worthy of being dubbed, where they put the words below and they let it be spoken in English. That was nice. Yeah, so after that we got back and we realized we had stayed out a little too long because our 3-month-old puppy Rayla decided to destroy her brand new bed that we just bought her and poop and pee everywhere in her little room.
Oh, isn't she
So I then spent the, and that's so nice. She did not like Spaceballs. She did not like Space Jam 2.
No, that's totally different conversation.
Oh, man, Spaceballs
You should
2.
have a conversation with Rayla
I should.
about Spaceballs.
But yeah, so that was not a very good way to end the day. Definitely was up to like midnight 30 cleaning that up. Anywho, moving on to more positive things. Let's get into some quick gaming on my end. Last week, I completed my 100th video game of 2021.
Wow.
Whether it's platinuming or completing the game. And number 100 was Fast and Furious Crossroads,
Well done.
which did not get as high as a rating as Space Jam 2. Sorry to say.
How does
That's
that make you
disappointing.
feel?
That is disappointing.
While I love family and I love the franchise, this game was a struggle to really enjoy. The car handling, as I said last week, was very poor. Overall, the track layouts are just abysmal. I could not half the time decipher if I was supposed to turn right or left, and I could not understand if something was destructible or not. Cars, huge trees, you could knock those down. A little post off to the right somehow could stop your car from 100 miles per hour to 0, like snap at a finger. I was like, what is happening right now? And there's no like, hit it and like you roll around or like some kind of car physics. It's like you hit it and then you just stay still. And then you have to just turn to the left or right and then continue on the track. It was awful. And all that also distracted me from the nonsensical story starring everyone's favorite characters of Dom and Letty, except they're animated like the Spaceballs stunt doubles. And it was rough. I showed Mindy and she's like, who is that? I'm like, that's Dom. She's like, no, it isn't. I'm like,
No,
yes,
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Listen to his voice. And yeah, it was, I mean, like Patrick said in his original spoiler cast some time ago, Roman animated perfectly. Like it was Roman all over, voice, animations, everything. Yeah, some of the voice acting was rough. You could tell some people were just reading a script, but I give it, being nice, a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 rocket riding surfboard moves. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Now I have a question.
Follow-up question. Let's hear it.
Based on what you've seen in Fast and Furious movie franchise and the stories, what did you think of the story for this one?
I thought it was like pretty much like a B version of Fast and Furious 9. Like it was shooting something into space to then take over, make stuff happen. So like, who made this first, the Fast and Furious 9 writers or the Fast and Furious Crossroads writers? Because there was a lot of crossover there in terms of like, except they didn't go to space. They knocked over the rocket before it could go to space, which I was thankful for. Which I might have much rather enjoyed the game if I got to go to space in the video game.
Ooh.
But yeah, so it seemed like a B version of that. So yeah.
So real quick, Isaac, Infinity Bro Isaac, is in the chat saying "Yo boys," and he also just subbed. So thank you so much for the sub.
Ooh, all right.
And
Heyo.
hope you're doing well, Isaac. Thanks for joining us
Yeah.
on this Space Jam 2 / Loki Spoilercast.
That's
Slash.
right.
Fast and Furious Crossroads.
And he says, "Glorious purpose."
Right, my friends. Yes, we will get there. We will get to the glorious purpose kind of soonish. Other than that, I started BioShock for the GMG VGBC, the book club. I'm just a couple hours in, not really a whole lot to say. This is my second time playing through it. I'll be playing 1 again, playing 2 for the first time, and then playing Infinite for the second time just to see how it holds up, what it's like on the PS4, all those good things. Crazy, bizarre stories, but really fun stories, interesting stories are the BioShock series. So I look forward to playing through that with others in the Discord and the GMG community that are playing it. And then, the other things that are coming up are Shadow of the Colossus and Final Fantasy VII Remake Spoilercast will be headed your way in the next few weeks. And then the final thing, of course, is, as always, I'm still going through 5BC Dead Cells. I know I have talked about this game ad nauseum, and it's kind of like when Patrick or Mark bring up Apex Legends, it's like, what could be so different that you need to bring it up again? I know that with Dead Cells, that sometimes is the case, but I have to say 2 things. One, I discovered something that really has made the game seemingly a little easier for me. It's not quite the level of save scumming that I was doing before, where I would save right before I was going to die or whatever to get out of that. But I discovered, and I've talked about a little bit about this before, you can dual bind your button layout so that when you use your weapons, you can put them to the same button, and then they use the weapons simultaneously. So like,
Whoa.
say you have a sword and grenades, you can throw grenades while you're slashing with the sword. Well, it's pretty cool to do because it makes your damage per second shoot up, but it can get a little chaotic. You just imagine that one man band that's like playing the drums and the harmonica and the cymbals and the guitar all at the same time. It can get a little crazy. But I discovered earlier this week that there are some items you get 4, like 2 weapons and 2 powers. I discovered you can put everything to one button, and just it becomes like a Nintendo game. Like you got the B button for your fighting, and you got the A button to jump. And so I've now mastered the dual binding to the sense where I get the right items, and I'm using all 4 of them at the same time. Your powers do have cooldowns, so they don't always work, but I immediately use them as soon as they're ready, and it's been pretty fun.
Nice.
So I'm hoping in the next few weeks to make some good progress and to reach the final area. I think the furthest I've gotten is like the 6th world out of 10. It's been hard. They did some updates from the last time I started 5BC to where it just is it's a lot more chaotic. The second thing I want to say is that I am giving myself a deadline of August 13th to beat 5BC. And if I don't, guess what? I'm moving on to Hades.
Oh,
yes.
Once that Hades comes out to PS4, I am jumping on that train, going to Greece, and playing another roguelike. So
Sweet.
That's what's gonna transition me to out of 5BC and Dead Cells, and just to shut that door, shut that page, whatever, close that chapter and move on. But I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. I hope to beat it, and then I look forward to Hades a lot. So
Sweet.
Someone else who I know is looking forward to Hades. Patrick.
Yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Hades. I was talking to Spencer on Fortress of Nerditude on the Discord, and he's not into rogue like games, and it sucked him in, and he really liked it. So I kind of relate to that. So hopefully it sucks me in as well, because I'm really looking forward to being part of the conversation, being part of the Hades players, because it's coming out for free on Game Pass in August. So I'll definitely be trying it out. There's no reason for me not to try it out.
You lucky duck. Yeah, man.
But yeah, I'm in Gatlinburg right now. I am not in my normal Cincinnati place. I am in Gatlinburg. I'm on vacation. I am with my wife's 2 brothers, their families, and then her parents. So we're in this nice big chalet. So I'll probably have a bit more of an update next week about how Gatlinburg has been. But so far, it's been pretty nice, except on the way down to Gatlinburg. So it started to rain, and it was all of a sudden it was stopped. and I thought I had enough room to stop. So I slam on the brakes, and I'm in the left lane. And left lane is like straight median.
Oh gosh.
It is just like a concrete wall. There's no way to go anywhere. So I'm skidding for probably 30 to 35 feet. And I try to maneuver my way a little bit to kind of not hit the guy in front of me, but I failed. And I
Oh no!
hit the back left fender, right behind his back left wheel, and I'm like, and it was a tap. It wasn't just like a crunch everything for the front end like last week's wreck that I talked about. It was
Right.
just it felt like it was a bump. And so we're in the left lane, and there's a lot of traffic, torrential downpour going on right now. And the guy in front of me did not stop. Like, he just kept going like he was going on his merry way. And for maybe another 15, 20 seconds, then he finally turns on his right turn signal. I'm like, okay, did he just realize that he got hit? Like, I don't know what's going on here. So he gets in the right-hand lane, and I follow him into the right-hand lane, and then he pulls off to the shoulder. And I'm like, okay, I'm pull off to the shoulder too, because, like, I hit him.
Right.
So I can't just
Yeah.
keep going. And I also can't just drive off because there's a whole bunch of cars. So, but I'm not, but so I stopped, and I waited for him to get out because he stood there like in his car for probably about a minute. I don't know if he's calling the cops or checking his glove box for his insurance or whatever. And he finally puts on his hazards and he gets out of the car. So I'm like, at this point, I had my insurance, and I got out of the car, walked up to him, and this guy is like, he's got khakis, he's got like a polo shirt tucked in, he looks like a reputable guy. And I go up to him, I'm like, I'm totally sorry. I thought I had enough room. I apologize. I hit you. I have my insurance card, and we can get this thing rolling. And he just looks at me. He's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, wait a second. I just hit you. I have a big dent in my bumper. Are you sure? He's like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. Like,
Does not compute.
yeah, I'm like, are you sure? Like, we should probably get our insurance together. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. It's nothing. And when I looked at his car, and there was some scrapes, and it looked like his bumper was dented a little bit. And he's like, don't worry about it. So I'm like, okay, shook his hand, and I went back to my car. And Mel's like, well, what happened? I was like, the guy didn't want to do anything. So I don't know how many wrecks you guys have gotten into, or what the reason why someone would say no to going through insurance, especially when someone else has hit you. Like,
Right.
I didn't understand it. So I'm like, okay. And it's just my bumper, the right side of the front fender is just like dented in a little bit. It didn't, no, like engine fluids were coming out or anything. It was just a bump. It was nothing major. And so like 2 minutes later, we're back on the road going towards Gatlinburg. So I got super lucky that the guy didn't want to go through insurance, because my insurance would have increased. And so, and I had to pay for his damages. But I just don't know why he wouldn't have said go through insurance. Either he didn't have insurance, or he had something going. He didn't want to call the cops. He wanted to be back on the road because he had something in the
That's
car.
a possibility.
No idea.
Yeah.
So, but I got dodged a bullet on that one.
Kind of sus on that one.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
you did.
yeah, very sus.
That is pretty sus.
Yeah.
Just real quick. First of all, Isaac says, you brought your mic with you on vacay? I'm impressed.
Oh yeah. I am committed. 150 episodes. Let's see. This is the second time I've recorded on a remote location. I've done it in Florida before.
Yep.
I did not do it in Disney.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Did not do it in Disney.
Spoilers.
And also, Aaron, you done messed up. In the chat says no guns involved this time. Hopefully.
No, he did not pull a gun on me. I did not pull a gun on him.
That's a
I
win.
pulled my insurance card on him, and that must have scared him off.
You're like, here it is, insurance. Look at it.
Look out, look out. But no, so that was a rocky start to the vacation, but it ended up being all right. So that's what's been pretty much going on life front. On the movie front, so I've watched 3 movies. One was Space Jam 2, so we've already talked about that one. The other one was Luca.
What a gem.
Luca.
Yes.
And I watched that with kids, and it was not your typical Disney animation movie.
It was not your typical Pixar movie.
It started off, I'm like, this looks like more of like a Paramount or Universal kind of movie. It did not look like Disney animation. But well, I didn't know anything about the movie. But it was really good. Talk about family. This movie was all about family and all about friendship. And I thought it was really good. There was a really cool twist. There was some cool the ending was cool and really nice. I would say if you got kids, this is a great movie to watch. If you like Pixar, if you like the Disney movies, definitely check this out. This was a really, really good movie. If this movie was on like TV, or if it was on, I probably would sit down and watch it again. It was really cool how this Luca character just learned all the things that humans learn. It was really cool. I would give this 7 out of 10. And then I watched also the other movies I watched the Fear Street trilogy. They're R.L. Stine Fear Street movies on Netflix. This one was not all about family. It was all about mass murder and horror. But it was the first 2 movies were good. The third movie really brought everything together. It was the twist at the end and how they ended it was really, really awesome in this trilogy. I don't want to give anything away because it was really, really cool, all the things that they did and how they brought it back in the third movie, talking about the first 2 movies, which was really cool. It was weird because they started in Fear Street 1994. And the second movie was Fear Street 1978 or 1778, I think it was. And after the first movie of 1994, it said to be continued. I'm like, wait a second, we're going back in time. What do you mean it's to be continued? But time travel. They did 2 storylines, one current timeline and then one previous timeline. So they were like kind of like pulling all the storylines together so it made sense at the same time. And then the third movie was back in like 1666. So, and how they brought it back to 1994 and what that to be continued was like in the third movie. So, it was a great trilogy. If you like horror movies, if you like the slasher movies, this is definitely up your alley. I like those movies. And for me, this was an 8 out of 10 as a trilogy. Now, the movies were what I would probably rate differently, but as a full trilogy, an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
On the gaming front, I played Ratchet and Clank, finished that, and I platinumed that.
That's my platinum shape.
Finished it. Yes.
Good job.
It was my first Ratchet and Clank game. This game was fantastic. It was good. Storyline was okay. But the dialogue between characters, all the power-ups that you had, all the guns that you had, all the moves that you had, all the worlds you went to, it was really good. I really enjoyed that story again. It's throwaway. But this game was definitely an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I loved this game. So speaking of Ratchet and Clank, so I gameflied it and I platinumed it. In the meantime, I secured another PS5.
I don't understand you.
You have the magic hands. Patrick with the magic hands.
3 weeks ago, I got Lucas a PS5. And then Eric was like, can you get me one? I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. 2 weeks go by, and I couldn't find him one.
Real quick, you done messed up says, what is this sorcery?
I'm not finished with how this all happened.
That's true. Find out right now.
So I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. It was 2 weeks to the day after I got Lucas yours. So that was a Wednesday. So it was a Wednesday. It was 2 weeks after that. I'm at lunch and I'm looking through my phone and I get an email from GameFly. And I read this because usually like, hey, this is coming soon. These are all the games you can put in your queue to rent. And GameFly is like, hey, do you want a PS5? Click here to buy a PS5. I'm like, this is too good to be true. And this is like 30 to 35 minutes after I got the email. And so I click on it. I'm like, all right, let's see if it's even still available. So I click on it. I add to cart. It goes to my cart. And I text Eric. I'm like, hey, do you want a PS5? This is what it comes with. It comes with an extra controller, charging station, and Ratchet and Clank. Do you want it? And
Sweet
he's like,
deal.
He's like, yes. And he said yes after 5 minutes of me texting him. And so I was like,
5 minutes. What is wrong with that man? You respond within 30 seconds.
I think he was off that day.
Wow.
Him and his wife are expecting a girl.
Ooh, that's
So
right.
yeah,
Nice.
first kid. So he has an excuse of not texting back
I
within 5
guess.
minutes. He's like, yeah, get it. So I'm like, okay, I purchased it, and there you go. I got another PS5. Not even trying.
They're throwing PS5s at you.
They're
now.
just
like,
Pat wants to buy a PS5. Let's just send him an email. See if he wants to buy another one.
Like,
golly.
no, sir, you get nothing. Oh, Pat,
That's
here you go. Here you
crazy.
go.
So I got another PS5. So I bought that
Dude.
for him. And then the last thing I want to talk about is I pre-ordered this new thing called a Steam Deck. The new
Yeah, it's where
Valve
it's like a
Steam
sauna.
Deck.
And you,
Steam Deck.
Yeah, it's right out next to the jacuzzi.
wear a towel.
It's fantastic.
yeah, it's fantastic. I want one of
Yeah.
those.
So I put a $5 pre-order down for it. It looks interesting. I want a handheld. I don't want the Switch, since they didn't come out with the Pro, and now I can play any AAA game in a handheld. So I just decided to throw $5 down just to reserve a pre-order. So I'm looking forward to what that
Why
looks
not?
like and seeing more information on that coming forward over the next few months.
Cool, man.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Nice.
All right. Well, that leaves Marcus. Old Marcus Aurelius.
It's been a real light week. Isaac Listic says those Steam Decks look awesome. I already don't use my Switch enough, so I probably won't get it. But man, it's tempting. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested, and I didn't know how their pre-orders work. If you needed to get like the full 400 or how many $100 down, or if it was only like a $5.
It's $5. That's all it was.
Because I wouldn't mind getting it. It does, like we talked about in the Discord, it does bum me out that there are several games that it won't play, just because of whatever different reasons, whether it be anti-cheat or
Anti-cheat. That's what it is.
all
Yep.
that kind of stuff. So that was kind of a bummer. But I mean, other than that, that's, to me, it seems like the most accessible way to get into PC gaming.
Right.
And it
I would
does
agree.
Game Pass games. So
Yeah, so it comes stocked with the Steam OS. If you want to play Game Pass, you got to install Windows onto it. How all that works, I don't know. We're still months and months away. My pre-order is not expected to be here until first quarter of 2022. I think it starts shipping out in December. That's what the anticipated date is. So we'll see again on that.
Yeah, it's been a real light week for me, just trying to keep things up on the health front and keep things going on in terms of exercising and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Tuesday I streamed some Apex, so that was awesome to get back into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then this Saturday, I streamed some Fortnite with Mr. Tim Pollen, which was an awesome time.
Yeah.
Got us a win, so that was great.
Nice.
There you go.
But that's been the most gaming I've done this week, unfortunately. But just been going through the daily grind. I really need to finish Ratchet and Clank.
You do.
I need to go ahead and do that. But
You owe it to yourself.
yep. But I'm still working on my backlog of things I need to watch. Obviously, I was able to finish Loki, so that we could talk about the whole series as of tonight. So that was great, and plus I had to wait for to watch it with my wife. So we did that on Sunday, which was great. Honestly, that's been pretty much my week. Oh, I guess the other little thing is I got this thing.
Is that an iWatch?
A fist?
Yes, I got a fist.
Whoa!
What are you gonna do about
Crazy.
it?
Me
Fight
too.
about it.
No. This is a Fitbit Versa.
Okay.
It's kind of
Cool.
sort of on their like a little more on their nicer end of Fitbit watches.
Yeah.
I wasn't really feeling my Galaxy Watch Active, which is what I had before, and so my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law both have Fitbit Versas, so decided to get that. Plus, it works with both Android and iPhones, and that will matter
Nice.
to me because I'm looking to switch back to Team iPhone.
No way.
Yeah. So
What? Why?
No surprise here.
I just prefer the OS. I prefer the OS. I mean, Android phones are great. I've had no problem with my Galaxy S20 Plus, but I think I just prefer the aesthetic and the OS and everything of the iPhone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus, you can play Game Pass on your iPhone now.
Yeah, that was the other thing because I was kind of mad at Apple for being stupid with that, but they fixed it.
And I've been testing that out this week while I'm at Gatlinburg. I've been doing the xCloud through iPhone. Flawless.
Really?
It's so,
Really?
like I am just xClouded, and I'm doing both streaming from my Series X at home and the xCloud. There is no discernible difference. It's awesome.
Okay.
Interesting. Now they have like controllers for that, right? That you can slap your iPhone into.
Well, for Game Pass, there's a section where you can have just touch controls, so you can do without a controller.
Oh, I don't.
But I
do
have
that.
the
That's weird.
I think it's like the Crazer. I can't remember which one I got.
The Razer Kishi.
The crazy.
The Razer Kishi. That's right. That's what
Close
and
enough.
and that's what I've been using. I've been remote playing on my PS5 with that, playing a little bit of Avengers, and then I've also tested out the xCloud, and it's really nice.
Nice.
To have that. I could not play any other way. Touch controls are really hard.
Yep.
But the Razer Kishi, I think it's like $69, and you can just play almost any Game Pass game on your phone, on your iPhone. So
Nice.
it's really nice.
Nice.
Good to keep in mind for the future.
But yeah, I'll be trading mine in probably in September, and I'm probably gonna wait because usually either September or October
Right.
is when they start announcing the new iPhones.
Yep.
So that'll be a good time to go ahead and trade in and switch. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean that's been pretty much that's it for me.
All right.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is, Mark, is that your week was not very loco.
I sense a transition coming on.
But was it
That-
Loki?
It was Loki. That
was very
transition was
low-key.
brought to you by my son. Earlier this week, he's like, Hey, Dad, Loco. It sounds just like Loki."
Yeah, my week was very low.
That's
key.
all he said. I was like,
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, it was very low key.
Love it.
"Ooh, that was much better." Rewind. So, Mark, your week was pretty low key, huh? Dang, that was a good one. Did you have that one already prepared?
No, it just
I'm
came
sorry.
to mind. Just came to mind.
That's great. Wow, you need to splice this baby up so you just make mine disappear. I mean, I was trying to like connect my son and make it all nice and, like a fatherly kind of plug-in for my son. But
When I
your
first
low-key
came to
one.
you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
I haven't heard that transition for ages. I don't remember what he
time.
says. Does he say years?
No, he says in a
Eternity?
long time.
In a long time.
All right.
All right. So, you guys ready to get into Loki?
Let's get into it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. That's right, folks. We are talking about Loki, the first season of Loki, maybe.
Mhm.
Who knows?
wink, wink.
No
Yeah.
spoilers here, so we can't say. This is going to be the first few minutes a spoiler-free discussion of Loki, and then we will jump into the nitty-gritty. Guys, we've all watched every single of the 6 episodes for this first season of Loki. And I don't know about you guys, there's lots and lots to talk about, but we cannot jump into the meat, the sinew, the real guts of the season. Can you say that, the guts of the season? I don't know. I just made it up.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
You
I
just
think
did, so.
I just did. So, but let's start, as is tradition, by sharing our spoiler-free review, kind of touching on what we liked, what we didn't like, the good, the bad, the ugly, if any of that exists, and just give it a number, random number. You can make it out of 10. You can make it out of 6. Shout out Infinity Bros, Isaac Holistic in the house.
I will.
You can make it out of 1,000 or a bajillion or 3,000 if you want. So,
Good call.
what? So we're just going to go in inverted update order. Mark, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on Loki?
Okay, so we have watched WandaVision, we have watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we have watched Loki thus far.
Yes.
That
I
is
enjoyed-
correct.
I enjoyed WandaVision. I enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Captain America
Spoilers.
and the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier.
Yeah. I almost said Captain Falcon. Falcon Punch!
Captain Falcon.
Falcor.
Yeah. By far, I absolutely love Loki. This is
Wow.
my favorite of the shows that they have put out.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I have been looking for in one of these Disney Plus Marvel shows. They did not disappoint. The storyline was great. The acting was fantastic. Firing on all cylinders. Pat and myself, we're huge time travel people, and obviously there's going back and forth between time travel and like dimension travel and things like that. I eat that stuff up, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the progression of all of the characters throughout the season. It was hilarious at so many points, and I'm looking forward to what is to come after this in several respects. So I will give this 10 pruning batons out of 10.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Very nice. That sounds like a pretty stellar score. Let's see if Patrick can top that one.
Okay, so I'm going to reiterate. I loved WandaVision. I loved Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And I loved Loki. Loki is by far the best Disney Plus series of the 3. There were a couple points in this series where Loki was being too much Loki, and it felt like he was pushing and he was trying too hard. But that does not pale to the comparison of how awesome this time travel was and how the storyline was. I love I love the progression, like Mark said. I love how they did that. It felt slow enough, but it also was quick. There's only 6 episodes. The actors are great. Owen Wilson as Mobius, Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I mean, they were a great duo. I really loved their banter back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and all the way up through the ending. It was so good. It's one of those, like I told you guys, it was last week. My daughter and I started the MCU, and I can't wait to go through the MCU and watch this series with her, and to just experience this series again, because this was really really good. It was top shelf. It was awesome. I I I would give this a 6 out of 6. Hands down, 6 out of 6.
Boom.
Nice.
I love how I love
Fantastic.
the ending was like, it felt like an MCU.
Mhm.
It wasn't
For
like
sure.
it wasn't a TV show. It felt like it was part of the MCU.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I love this. The WandaVision and Captain America, those were results of the MCU. This
Yeah.
movie or this series was a result of the MCU, but also it pushed it to the MCU.
Yeah,
And that's why that's what's so awesome about this.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that follows right into my spoiler-free review. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good was that it was a healthy mix of action, of deep dialogue, and most of all of MCU plot moving and emotionally moving material. Like it was great. Like it felt like we developed Loki more as a character. Like if he wasn't developed before, they like redeveloped him, if that's possible. It was really cool. Introducing new characters that I look forward to seeing in the cinematic universe, like not just in another Disney Plus episode or season, but actually, crossing over into cinematic areas. I hope to see them there. I think it's a no-brainer to say that at least one or two of them will show up in the cinematic universe.
Absolutely.
I feel like overall, just what they did was like so impactful on the MCU more than the others. I enjoyed WandaVision. I thought some of the episodes were a little too wacky, a little too obtuse, nonsensical. Like what are we watching again? I don't really know where this is going. It had some great moments, and then with Captain, I almost said Captain Falcon too. Falcon and Winter Soldier, just a typical comic book, like a classic, not typical, classic comic book, entertainment, like just with the action and going hitting like real world issues through the story, like really good, really I don't know, really real, really genuine. Like
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh no, I think we lost Lucas.
Oh, goodness.
Oh no. Lucas,
Yeah,
are you still
I think
there?
we did.
He started to get really rough there.
Yep.
Really rough there for a second. But so I guess let's continue with this spoiler free. I have
Yep.
a few other things I want
We're
to talk
over
about
the wall.
while we're waiting for this. Like Lucas said, there were funny moments. There were jokes. I mean, the interactions between each of the characters, what each one that we learned about, whether that was I really don't want to. I can't get into them since we're doing spoiler free. But each one of the characters that were introduced, they had a good start, a good origin, as it were, and even though it was only 6 episodes, we saw them progress, and we saw that the reasons behind their motivations. It was just so neat to see how it all culminated to the end. And the last episode was so different than the rest of the episodes, and it was the best episode because of what they did. Because it was unlike any other episode we saw with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There was what. Oh, man, I can't really give anything away. It was so good. Introducing even new characters all the way up through episode 6, and how they all came into the episode. It was like the last maybe like 10 minutes. It was really good. how they all came together. Like I said, Tom Hiddleston, his acting was maybe subpar in a couple of the scenes, but it was just you saw. This was Loki from 2012. This is Loki 2012. This isn't Loki from Avengers Endgame.
Right.
This is we're learning Loki from the right after the Avengers movie. You know, this is straight after it, and seeing the difference between Loki in this versus the Loki in the MCU as we know it, and how all this plays out in subsequent seasons or in the MCU, how all that plays out is really going to be exciting, and how they're going to introduce characters into the MCU, possibly Loki into the MCU, and Mobius into the MCU, what have you, all these, because there were some loose ends that weren't tied in this season.
Yeah.
And how all that's going to play out in the rest of the MCU and what they're going to do with it. It's going to be really, really exciting. What about you? What about you, Mark?
Yeah. So we're still. Are we still on the? Are we still on the?
I don't know. This Lucas is driving this thing, and I'm trying to fill some time before Lucas comes back.
Sorry, I'm trying to listen to you and try to mess with the graphic.
It's probably all jacked up.
Yeah, it is, but it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, but thanks to everybody watching for sticking around. I know we're going through some difficulties here, but it's all good. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead. We're just gonna go ahead and hop the spoiler wall here.
Oh, let's go.
Okay. And Lucas will have to bring up the rear here.
Sure.
But apparently they had a power outage, by the way. So he may be back, he may not be back. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah. So from the start, you know, and I know we're not going to go through each episode, but
Yeah.
you know, from the start, we're introduced back to 2012, like you were talking about 2012 Loki, post the big Battle of New York, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he escapes like he did in Endgame, and you find him in this like desert area, and then he gets captured by this strange organization called the Time Variance Authority, the TVA, and all that stuff. And gotta say, from the get-go, firing on all cylinders. That whole scene where she strikes him with the baton, and he's feeling the full force of the strike, but he's being like slowed down.
Right.
And so
she's like you may be moving in slow motion, but you're feeling everything that I hit you with.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, just from the get-go, we get, Loki gets pulled into the TVA, the world of the TVA, where we're introduced to, all the agents and stuff like that. And there's hunters, there's actual agents and things like that. And their goal is, and it looks like Lucas is trying to get back in the room here. So give me a second.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Here, this is gonna look funky again for a moment, guys. Let me see here. So 3-person templates.
Greetings, humans.
All right, Lucas, we are into spoiler talk.
I know I've been trying to follow on Twitch, so spoil
Okay.
away. By the way, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10, only because I needed more than 6 episodes. So
Okay.
I still don't feel like there was enough. I don't know. This one just felt like there wasn't enough stuff. I needed more with Loki, with Sylvie. I thought it was a great first season, and I thought in terms of like the transition and how it connected to MCU, 10 out of 10. But I didn't give it a perfect score. So
Okay.
sorry to be a downer.
9. What did you say? 9.5 out of 10.
9.5 out of 10.
That
It was
I will
so
take
good.
that.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
So I
But
loved
yeah,
it.
We
I
are
liked it.
we're over the spoiler wall. So
We are.
I was just talking about how we were getting introduced to Loki.
The
and
TVA.
getting pulled into the TVA, the Time
Right.
Variance
The-
Authority, and
The space lizards.
Yep.
The timekeepers. Yep.
Yep.
Catches up.
Yeah, and Loki was like, timekeepers. He's like, well, one, I want to meet them, but one, also, I don't believe they're real.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which
we
he
get-
called it. Really.
He called it
Yeah.
early.
Totally called it.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we're introduced to we're introduced to Miss Minutes, and all
Which,
that
by
kind
the
of-
way, how is no one this Miss Minutes is amazing character, by the way.
For
But-
sure.
Who is this cartoon character? How is this person? How is this Miss Minutes existing in cartoon world? Like, do we not know where she comes from? Why do
No,
we
we
not talk
don't.
about her?
Through
not
the
in,
whole season,
not
they're
in
not
Loki,
giving.
no.
They give no information other than she is the right hand minute keeper, the right hand girl of He Who Remains. So
Yeah, but why a cartoon though? Is it
Oh,
like
I don't know.
a robot?
it's an
No.
AI.
Yeah,
it's like
an
a
AI.
representation of a AI or computer or something that
But
just holds all the TVA information, timeline,
So like
info,
a hologram
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
somehow.
She's
even
like
though the-
Siri. Miss Minutes is like the TVA's Siri or Alexa or what are the other ones?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
but she's cartoon, and she can
Yeah.
be anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
all
a
right.
cartoon.
Well, I can
Exactly.
get behind that. All right,
But
cool.
apparently she can feel some sort of like pain or something. She's not like just like a computer generated image. Because if you remember Loki, when he's taking that test and Miss Minutes pops up and he like tries to attack her and stuff, she's like moving out of the way and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why would
Oh,
she
yeah.
have to bother
Mhm.
if she's not actually there?
Well,
I
she
mean,
has
she's-
feelings too. It's
Yeah.
like in VR when you see stuff fly at you and you try to move out of the way, even though it's not really going to hit you
Yeah.
in real life. It's something like that.
Yeah.
I really appreciated this intro, this first, and in all honesty, the first and second episode I had to watch twice just because I felt like they were so chock full of information. This first one introducing the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, introducing the fact that there used to be a multiverse, and then the timekeepers, whatever, the three space lizards decided to make one sacred timeline and
Yeah.
keep everybody on the track, and then getting into this idea of variance, and then at the end of the first episode saying, "Hey Loki, by the way, I'm asking you to help me find another Loki, a deadlier Loki than you, a Loki that's running amok and creating havoc, and and if you do this, I'll introduce you to the space lizards." That was a really cool, surprise at the end of the first episode.
So I want to talk about that why the reason why they're going after this more dangerous Loki. They go back in time and they show where they take this female Loki from this timeline.
Correct.
Like, why would they take a Loki from a timeline? Like, it to me, it leads me to believe that that's not actually a Loki. Like, why? Like, if they're gonna take a Loki away from an entire timeline, that timeline is gonna be shot.
Right.
Because that's
That's
Thor's
true.
brother
Loki can't do anything.
or sister in this timeline. Why would they take her? So it leads me to like she wasn't supposed to be there. She was supposed to be. She's like maybe like a. I think the other folks are calling her the Enchantress or something like that. But I
Right.
don't think she's actually a Loki. She is not a variant of Loki. She's
Yeah.
something else.
In which she's the only variant of Loki that didn't go by Loki.
Yeah, right.
Because her name was
Another
Sylvie.
reason.
And I always
Yeah.
thought that's kind of weird. Just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't be Loki still. You can
She
be.
doesn't like being called Loki because that's not her name.
Yeah,
Right.
I just don't think that. Well, number one, it's a reference to another character, and Marvel does this. They reference characters while
They do.
not necessarily pulling every single piece of source material for that character. And I think honestly, they're taking it and developing a storyline for her. I still think she's a variant of a Loki, but she's just different. And the fact is, they wanted a different name for her so that it wasn't confusing to have Loki and Loki and Loki the whole time.
Lokina?
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Loka,
Everybody talked about possibly it being Lady Loki, but
Lady Loki.
I
Yeah,
guess they didn't want it to go that way because there is a Lady Loki in the comics.
I think it
Um,
makes complete sense for her to be the Enchantress. I
Yeah.
don't think it matters that she's a variant of Loki. Her name's Sylvie. She's her own person, and so
Yeah, but it's
I
still the
hope down
story
the
they
road
wanted to
they
tell.
right. But I'd say why not make her the Enchantress down the road? I know for myself in the 6 episodes I watched, even though she made a very uh I don't know, very bad decision in some ways, and yet did she? But
Yeah.
she made a very impactful decision at the end where
Yeah.
you could kind of see her as a villain, definitely see her as a villain.
Yeah.
I still like her. Like I still like her character development and just kind of things they revealed about her, much like they did with Thanos, much like they did with Killmonger, with all the other villains and baddies of the MCU, like really making you see their perspective and their point of view. So I think, hey, let her be whatever, let her be whatever. And I think, in talking about this variance, I think it's only fitting that our MCU Loki fell in love with himself.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
funny thing is, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The funny thing is, Tom Hiddleston actually did an interview before Loki ever even aired, and the interview asked him like, "Are we going to see a love interest for Loki?" And the way he responds is, "Well, I think first, if you're going to learn to love someone, you have to first learn how to love yourself."
Well played,
And-
Tom Hiddleston. Well played.
And he was totally giving it away without giving it away, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. Like if if Sylvie is actually a Loki variant, and Loki falls in love with himself, it totally makes sense.
Yep.
Like
Totally.
he's the only person he can fall in love with is himself.
Yeah.
And I totally get it.
Yep.
Which also makes it a little weird that he with the kissing scene of kissing himself. And it's just weird. A love interest with yourself just sounds really weird, and I think they can save it with her being actually the Enchantress.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, can you imagine if they would have tried to do that old gender swap on Loki and like try to do some kind of computer animated thing where he's like a girl version of himself? That would have been weird.
So
Yeah.
real quick, Tim Pollen just rated us.
Hey-oh.
Oh,
Hey,
nice.
Timmy Pollen, thanks
Old-
for the raid.
Old Captain Bacon himself.
The
Yep, I hope
Baconator.
the people that you brought to our Twitch stream have seen Loki, because if not, they're about to find out some things they didn't want to find out. So here's another spoiler warning
This is a
Yeah.
for you
spoiler
raiders.
cast.
Spoiler cast for old Loki season 1. Yeah, so continuing on with some of the things, did you guys talk about Mobius yet? I think that's the other.
Oh, Mobius was a fantastic
we
character.
briefly,
Perfect
real
casting
quick.
of Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah,
Never
he never
said
dropped.
it.
He never
never
dropped a wow.
said
I
it.
know. That was a little
Unfortunate.
disappointing,
And
I'll be
when,
honest.
And then when he got what do they call it? The fused or pruned. When he
Yeah.
got pruned, I was like, "Oh no, we're not gonna get the wow." And then
Oh,
we
man.
find out that he's back in the episode in episode 5 that he's in the void. I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna get a wow," but we never got it.
Nope, never got it.
So
No.
I feel like besides the Sylvie and Loki relationship, Mobius and Loki's relationship, I think Patrick, I think you both talked about it a little bit. I loved their chemistry
Oh, so
and their
good.
relationship, the building, like whether it was Mobius revealing to Loki, like going over his future life that
was
he
a-
never got to experience, and yet at the same time, like having almost empathy for him, sympathy, and like building that trust. But like the highs and lows of their relationship was so good, whether it was going through that or Mobius throwing Loki into that time loop where Sif kept coming in and kicking him in the crotch,
Yeah.
and just over and over and over again, and then
You're
finally
forever
teaming
alone,
up with
you
him.
always will be.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
And
so good.
the whole dynamic between Mobius and Loki was good, and it all stemmed from Mobius being like a therapist. He's like, I
Yeah.
know who you are, but I want you to see it. I want you to see who you are and why you are. And it took Loki 6 episodes to get there.
Yeah.
To be like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's true.
Mobius is right. And they became really, really good friends.
Yep.
And that whole, that was a really good storyline in and of itself.
Mhm.
Their relationship with each other.
For sure.
I really love their relationship and how it blossomed and developed.
Yep. And each episode it had a different look and feel. Like the first episode was getting to know you. Second episode, they had some really deep discussions about free will, about fate. Trying to it was almost like a detective story, and like the whole idea of finding the Loki variant within apocalyptic events, and because it wouldn't cause a Nexus event because it wasn't, important to the timeline because it was going to be obliterated anyways. Like that whole thing was really funny. Like when they were in Pompeii and, Loki's like just dancing around, like causing chaos. And,
Yeah.
and Moses is like, well, nothing's happening. So I guess you're right. And, it was so good. And when he got pruned, I looked at Mindy and was just like, no way. What did they just do?
Right.
You can't kill Mobius. You can't kill Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah, you don't pay Owen Wilson
Wow.
money to kill Owen
Wow.
Wilson.
No, definitely not. And what a transition. Like, in continuation of the relationship where you're like, oh no, they just separated one of the best like duos in this show, and then you go to Lokiville or Loki variant Berg
The
and
Void.
Void and run into all the Lokis. That was crazy. Super crazy.
Which was hilarious.
Tim
Yeah.
Pollan points out Mobius is the new Phil Coulson.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
I
I,
agree.
like that take.
I like it.
I like it. I like it.
It's a good take.
R.I.P. Phil Coulson. He's not actually dead, but you have to watch.
This is 2012 Loki. We could still see Phil Coulson. Possible.
It's possible.
You never know.
This timeline is about to get crazy.
I mean, if you saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know that he never actually completely died and lived on for 7 seasons
He's RoboCop. That's
of
what
a
he
really
is.
fun show. But anywho, we're talking about Loki, not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Come with me.
Yeah, so let's see. They do introduce the Lady Loki in the 3rd episode. Or is it the 2nd episode or 3rd episode?
It was the 2nd episode.
I think it's the 2nd episode.
One
Yeah,
of the
2nd episode.
episodes.
Thank you. And she causes havoc with a bunch of the time grenades, the timeline erasing grenades, which was pretty
Yeah.
crazy when that happened. And what did you guys think of? Did you expect to see a mirror image of Loki when they had their first showdown at the grocery store or wherever they were in
No.
Alabama during that
No,
hurricane?
I didn't. What they did like a, I think it was more of like a shadow, and it moved like a female. And I was like, oh, that's just a variant of Loki. It's
Yep.
not gonna actually be Loki. I can't see 2 Tom Hiddlestons
Yeah, that would have
doing
been
a whole
weird,
series
right?
together. So I was like, okay,
It would have been like the Parent
because-
Trap.
and they talked about it. They're like the variants of Loki are not actually going to be Loki. It's going to be it's going to be totally different. So
Yeah.
when I saw that she had walked into one of the portals, and I was like, oh, okay, that looks like a female. It's going to be a female. I get it. So I was not, because of what they did there. That's why I never thought it was going to be an actual same looking Loki.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
I full disclosure, I knew stuff.
Man.
But I didn't know all of it, so I didn't know who she was actually going to be fully playing. But the way that they revealed it was really cool. How she was, transferring, enchanting different people and
Yeah.
and speaking through them and all that kind of stuff, and fighting Loki that way. All while fighting in I think it was called Roxcart. Wink, wink to Roxxon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That Roxxon is a very big corporation in Marvel in general,
Yeah.
and then obviously in Miles Morales they were referenced quite a bit.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was a really cool scene to introduce. I want to say her name is Sophie DiMartino. I believe that
That
is her
sounds
name.
right. Yes. We'll accept that.
she's-
Sophie DeMartino.
I believe, yeah, she's an incredible actress. She does a great job.
Yeah, she did a
She
great
did.
job.
Yeah, she did.
And she pretty much over the next episode and a half kind of reveals why she's doing what she's doing once they go to Lamentus 1, because Loki kind of interrupts her plan to go and pretty much face the three space lizards and probably kill them. Before she can do that, though, takes her to Lamentus 1, and then they kind of go on a little chase to charge their little temp pad and get back to the TVA so she can finish her plan. But they wind up on a planet that's about to be destroyed, and in the process get to know each other a little bit, find out their motives. That I think episode 3 was episode 3 for some people was a low point from the things I read, kind of in terms of like what happened and what was going on. But I think it was all about character development and kind of building that relationship between the two of them. That was the focus. And even though some of the stuff didn't really make sense, like I know that we've talked about in the past, we'll mention here that final scene when they're trying to get to the rocket ship to blast off and somehow survive this apocalyptic event was nonsensical. They were like 4 football fields away from the rocket, and like clearly the rocket was about to be destroyed. And they weren't even running in a straight line. They were like running to the left, running to the right,
No
stopping to eat a hot
direction.
dog. No, not at
Yeah.
all. Like I didn't understand what was happening that whole time, but
It made for cool cinematic stuff.
it did. It did.
But yeah, like you said, this their third episode, it was a bridge between episodes. It was more character development, and yes, this was probably the lowest rated of all the episodes, but it was important.
It was.
And this, the reason for this episode paid off in episode 6.
Yeah. Definitely. I thought it was interesting. So I love when you have these moments where it's like, well, it's over. We're going to die. And it's like, no, you're not. There are still 3 more episodes. But they like take it to pretty much where the meteorites are like in their faces about to kill.
Oh no, not again.
Oh yeah, the meteorites are about to kill them,
Yes.
and then the internet is killed on Lucas's end. Lucas needs some Ethernet ports
Yep.
on his laptop.
He sure does. He sure
Or
does.
no power outage.
Oh goodness. Okay, so yeah, so we've reached that bridge, and then of course they are captured by the TVA. They are saved by the TVA and captured and all that. And then of course they are such an anomaly. Excuse me. That they are immediately called into the presence of the actual timekeepers. And I'm trying to
Yeah,
mess with stuff
yeah,
here.
and these timekeepers were actual lizards, which was surprising to me because I thought these were like, because the way Loki was talking, the way everyone else was talking, and the way that was it Raven Renslayer? Is that her name?
Ravonna Renslayer.
Ravonna Renslayer. She was like the way she talked about it, they're like they're not real. And when they came to that like the top floor, and these lizards were up on there just laughing and not really, they felt fake, and they ended up being fake, which was like a surprise, but not really a surprise because I was not expecting them to be real anyways.
Yeah.
But when we found out that they were actually confirmed not to be real, it really changed everything, because Loki was right. That means Ravonna Renslayer was lying about something.
Yep.
And that's why they started fighting. And then that's when Loki got this episode, when Loki got pruned. I'm like, oh, what? Like, this is the end of the episode, and how are they going to continue this? Is this really going to happen, where they're going to continue the last 2 episodes without Loki? How is this even possible?
Yeah, I knew he wasn't dead. Again, like
It was a
Lucas
shocker.
was saying, it was a shocker for sure.
Yeah.
But like 2 more episodes, they're not going to
Right.
kill off
Right.
Loki.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see what comes next, and the fact that Sylvie cuts off the one timekeeper's head.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the interesting part, and I watched a video about this after the fact, and they point out this little Easter egg. First of all, the actor who plays He Who Remains,
Yeah.
does all the voices for the timekeepers.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
neat.
And when the whole fight is over and they stand by the one timekeeper's head, you can hear it in the background. You hear the words, "See you soon." And so like they were already hinting at He Who Remains
Oh,
well before they actually introduced the character.
wow.
Which like I didn't catch that the first watching, of course.
Nope. Did not catch it.
But yeah, that's why I love to watch these like Easter egg videos where they go back and like, oh, here's this and here's that. I'm like, I never would have seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. And then of course you come to find out that Loki's fine. He's in
Fine.
yeah, he's in
He's
some
the void.
other dimension, some other area of time, and this to me leads into episode 5, which is hands down for me probably the best episode of the season.
Really?
And I really liked episode 6, don't get me wrong, but I loved having the multiple Loki variants, whether it be Kid Loki or the classic Loki, who's played by Sir Richard E. Grant, fantastic actor in everything he does, and the the alligator Loki.
And then, like, what was the other one? Thor Loki?
Yeah, it's like Vengeful Loki, I believe that was called.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty sweet to see all that. Each one of them had their own great individual characters, and were still very much Loki.
Yeah, and I watched this series with my wife, and she watches the MCU movies with me, and she enjoys them. She did not watch WandaVision with me. She watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and then she watched this one with me. And I don't get a lot of gasps from her in anything that any of the MCU. But the end of this, when they show all of the Lokis like standing over Loki, she gasped, and she's like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And when she is excited about something, that means it was like a jaw dropper of a moment, and this was a jaw dropper of a moment.
Lucas is attempting to come back in.
Lucas is coming back in. Hopefully he's understood what we've been talking about. We're on to episode 5, Lucas. Episode 5 now.
Episode 5.
I'll be
Thumbs
with
up.
you
Thumbs up.
as long as my electricity allows. I don't know what's going on. I had to unplug my refrigerator,
This
turn off lights.
we've never had these
downstairs.
problems before.
No, it just started yesterday or this morning, and I didn't think about it affecting my Wi-Fi. It's
You need
so
to
weird.
turn off your shower, because that pulls
Okay.
a lot of electricity.
I will.
Right?
That's true. That does take a lot of electricity. I'm going to turn it off right now. Click. Turned it off.
Good job. Okay.
All right. Third time's a charm. Here's hoping I stick around. Yes, the Loki variants. I loved them. Old Man Loki is my favorite.
Yep.
When he raises Asgard and saves the day, loved it. Epic moment.
Glorious purpose.
That was an awesome moment. Like they were walking away, and he's like, "Nah, they need me," and he pulls up and just does the Asgard hologram and just tries to pull up a what was the big smoke monster?
It's called
Altair.
Alioth.
Alioth. Not Altair.
Yep.
Alioth. Yes.
Close. You were so close. Yeah.
He came down and assassinated
Yeah.
the older Loki.
Yeah.
Now, one
Assassin's
question
Creed
I
Loki.
have, and I guess it's a doubt, is this alligator Loki? Why would they call him alligator Loki? He was definitely croaky.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they decided. And
Crocodile.
apparently people were like fighting on the internet, like, is this actually an alligator or is it a crocodile?
It's like the pig Spider-Man. I mean, just go with it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's an alternate
true.
universe of a Loki of probably of all
I
alligators
loved it.
or just whatever. Just
I want to see this. I want to see this animal-driven MCU movie where Loki is an alligator, Thor is like
it's the Life of Pets
Thor's
3.
a frog.
Thor's a frog. Sure,
And in
whatever.
fact, you see that when they're like panning
Yeah.
down in a scene, he's like in a
Yep.
jar.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's a reference to the comic books where
Yeah,
he's
I
actually
saw-
turned into a frog.
Well,
And I think they reference it in the MCU as well.
The wife and I paused it during that, like, what was that? And we rewound it, and we're like, oh, that says Thor on that jar. What does that mean? We didn't know. We don't know the comics, but that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Aaron
definitely.
in the chat, you done messed up, says croaky sounds more like a frog. Which
That does. I heard
Yeah,
it once I said
yeah.
it. I was like, croaky, that doesn't work. Crocky. Crocky. Yeah. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
I loved Mobius showing up in his little not a Winnebago. It was like pretty much a Ford Fiesta. Like,
Yep, it's like a
Just
pizza,
showing up to save
pizza
Sylvie.
car or something. 'Cause it had
yeah,
like a-
pizza. It had a big, huge pizza slice of pizza on it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so she gets reunited with the other Lokis, with Loki, our good friend, and they face off against Goliath and enchant him, which pretty much means they turn him green,
Yes.
and then they go behind the curtain, which ironically, since it's green, it's almost like they went to see the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that was so many Wizard of Oz parallels there.
So many. Yeah. They're like, that Goliath, he's guarding something. And so they go and they meet
Mhm.
he who remains. Who did you think it was? Did you automatically go towards the rumors of Kang the Conqueror? Did you think it was
that's
some new character?
That's exactly who I went to because
Too
I know
many
the
references.
Kang the Conqueror is like a time. He manipulates time. He has a power of time. So that's immediately who I went to. However, as we go through the episode, he's smug. He's joking.
Weird?
He said-
Yeah.
He's just like a loosey goosey kind of
Kinda
guy.
Crazy man. Like you could tell
And-
he's been alone for a long time.
And
Yeah.
I'm and
Like-
and I told my wife we paused it and I'm like, if this is a villain, this is not a villain.
It's a terrible villain.
Because of the alternate timelines, this is not the real villain. This is the guy that's pretty much the good guy. This is the
He's-
guy who's trying to keep everything under control.
He's the
But they're-
precursor.
And
Definitely.
yeah, that's the way I felt. I was like, this guy is too just lackadaisical about anything. Just funny, like he was smart, but he was funny. He was goofy, and I didn't see him as Kang the Conqueror. At one point, he's like, "I've been called many names. One was the Conqueror." Just like, yeah, I get it, but there's something's gonna happen to where we actually get to see the variant of this
Yep.
Kang or
And
this
we will.
Conqueror or this
Yeah.
guy.
Because then he reveals he was one of thousands or hundreds of variants that
just-
were
just
the
like-
leaders of the multiverse war that they had referenced before. And he fought
Yeah.
himself because he was the smartest man alive. He was like from 3100 BC or BC AD, like
Yeah.
the 31st century, I think it
31st
said.
century, yep.
And what a twist that he's almost like the Reverse Flash and a villain that's come from the future to then take control and to use his smarts, his technology, whatever he's got to then make this one and just pretty much get this dictatorship of time
One time.
and one timeline. And then he gives this ultimatum to Loki and Sylvie. It's like, here are your two options. You can kill me and release all my variants, but you get all your free will back. Or you can take over the TVA and the timeline for me and relieve me of my, my leadership or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this whole point goes back to Endgame, where they're all trying to get these Infinity Stones back from certain timelines, but to keep that sacred timeline, they have to put them back where
Yep.
they were to keep that timeline. Because there was like the the Doctor Strange. What's
The
what's her-
ancient one.
The ancient. She's like, hey, when she does it, she's like, these are timelines. This is what happens if you take these
Take it out.
Infinity
Yeah.
Stones away. This is what happens, and when it needs to be straight. And this goes straight to Loki, season 6, of what they're talking about. Like, hey, or actually just the whole season, not just episode 6, the whole season, where they're
Right.
trying to keep one timeline. And anytime it goes off to a point where it's going to cause a Nexus event, they're like, hey, nope, we need to stop it. And that's that, and it goes back to Endgame, which is really cool how they kind of connected it.
For sure.
So Comics in the Cross just rated us with a party of
Hey-o.
7.
Hey.
What's up, guys? You came at the best part.
Yep,
The birth of the multiverse.
Yep.
Welcome
so
to the
just-
conversation.
Just heads up for anybody jumping in. We are spoiling Loki, so if you haven't watched it,
We're on
Leave
the last
now.
episode right now.
Yes.
oh guys, thanks so much for all the follows. Much
Woo!
appreciated.
Awesome.
Much appreciated.
Thanks. I can't see a thing because I'm not using the internet on my phone so as to save energy and not leave
Well, that
for
is
the
why
third
I'm
time.
Sharing with you.
Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I love this like almost rebirth and reintroduction of the multiverse. This is like I can't think of a better way to bring people into the convolutedness of the multiverse. In the past, in like comics, they would go back and explain multiverse stuff but it's always existed. It's always there and you just have to accept it. And the way the MCU has done this and introduced the multiverse in a way that you get to be there for its rebirth, and it makes sense. Like the way they did that is so good, and I loved this like both calm but huge moment where Loki and Sylvie pretty much get to decide what happens next, and He Who Remains is just like, what do you want to do? Like the moment where he realizes that he can't predict the future, and he takes the pen and just drops it, and he's like, I don't know what's going to happen from here. So
Yeah. And
go ahead.
He's like, you can either take over or you can kill me and then cause this multiverse and cause all the things that I've helped keep in line to go haywire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this moment, once he did that, like this moment for me was you knew who was going to pick which route. Like you knew Sylvie was going to kill him, going to kill him and not care about the results. And you knew Loki was going to want to I mean, they try to insinuate that he just wants the throne, but I love that he repeats, I don't want the throne. Like just like he did with was it with Thor? I didn't want the throne. I just wanted to be your equal.
Yeah.
I think he says to Thor in Dark World. I can't remember which one he says that in,
I
but
don't remember.
but it's that idea that people perceive in him, you just want power, you just want control, and Loki, that's not like why he's doing that. Like his thought process and everything makes sense. And I do want to take a quick aside before we talk about like where they go with it. If you were in that situation and you had to pick, you guys, not Loki or anybody else, to either kill the big bad to give everyone free will, or to take over so that it would like everyone would be safe from the many variants of Kang, which one would you do?
Now, am I Loki or am I Sylvie in this scenario?
You're yourself. You're Patrick.
But I have no motivation at this point.
No,
Like
but which
the-
one?
like-
You have to. There's no
In that
motivation.
moment,
There's just
in that moment.
which do you choose?
Man, I'm going to have to say free will.
So kill for the free will.
Yes.
See, the point that Loki makes is there's this risk of unleashing something much worse by killing. And I mean, you could take him at his word, or you could not. But I think when I think about it, yeah, maybe technically people don't have free will. It's kind of like the Matrix, if you think about it. People like ignorance is bliss. They don't know they're being controlled. They don't know they're in this simulation. And ultimately, you're keeping everything balanced. So, although I don't know how much Loki and Sylvie would keep everything balanced, but if it were me in that situation, I think I would want to keep the balance.
But Sylvie's like, you took my life away from me.
Yeah.
You took my life away from me, and her taking his life away from him, like I get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Loki's
Yeah, I
Loki's
totally
life
get
was
it.
Loki's life was never taken away from him, and he had that progression, especially with his relationship with Mobius, and just seeing just a 6-episode arc of him being the god of mischief to being a guy who cares, and to believe that he cares. There was a moment
Yeah.
like they're like neck and neck, and Loki is just crying. You can see the tears just drop from his eyes because he does not want her to kill He Who Remains, because he doesn't want anything bad to happen, which is
Right.
crazy. He says he doesn't want a throne. He doesn't want a throne. Sylvie can take the throne. He doesn't care. He doesn't want anything bad to happen. And what
Yeah.
Sylvie's like, no, and just
No,
throws
she
him.
couldn't see past that decision. Just for the record, I lean more towards Mark. I see Sylvie's side. I see the idea of give everyone free will, but I kind of also think that free will's a little bit overrated. We don't have as much free will as we like to think, but that's a whole different discussion for another day.
Yeah.
I do not want to unleash Kang the Conqueror or the worst variants. I kind of like the idea of keeping the balance. So
But
I would
they
I
didn't
would
know.
I
They didn't
side
know what
with
was gonna
Loki.
happen.
No, they
didn't know-
don't know.
They don't
We-
know.
Yeah, it's true. But it's so, I don't know, like this Nexus event was so cool because it was just like this is the true birth of Phase 4. Like it's unleashed from here, and all the movies here on out are going to be directly impacted by this episode and this decision.
Which
So
is
cool.
awesome as a viewer, because like Mark, we love time travel. We love time manipulation and quantum physics and all that stuff.
Yep.
And 1.21 gigawatts. It's amazing that this is the route that the MCU is taking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I am on board
100%.
any other phase, even though we lose Steve Rogers, we lose Iron Man, but we're gaining so many other characters that it's which is crazy because we're what, how many years? We're 13, 14 years into the MCU, and I'm still caring about what's happening.
Yeah. And they just influxed a bunch of life into it by doing this multiverse angle.
And the beautiful thing is, this is the nature of the comics, that they're playing this out. Like there have been tons and tons of storylines where there are lineup changes and people die and then people come back to life and things like that. And it's this flux, this ebb and flow of this universe, and the MCU is very much to its own degree, I guess, kind of mimicking that, and it's an awesome thing to see. And I think this is one of the many reasons why I gave this show a 10 out of 10 is because WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, they have their impacts, of course they do, but I think this series has the most impact on what is to come, because we're literally playing out into what the next 3 or 4, well, not completely 3 or 4 movies, because I don't think Eternals or Shang-Chi are affected by this per se, but Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and Quantumania, which, by the way, the main villain of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror. Yeah.
I'm assuming Spider-Man No Way Home will also be affected by this.
And the title from Spider-Man No Way Home, he's going to be looped into or gone to another multiverse, and he does not know how to get back to the sacred timeline. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. That's what No Way Home means.
Yep.
Well, I love, you mentioned the sacred timeline. I think at this point, the only sacred timeline is Kevin Feige's plan for the MCU. That's the only thing. And that's kind of like where I really like what they're doing, because like you said, Mark, they're taking the comic book route. Like they're going all in on this multiverse, but they're not going to be like, there's not going to be like a bunch of, in the comic books, you have to read this comic book line and this comic book line, and there's so much. It's almost it's almost impossible to know all of the strands. But there's going to be only enough to where we'll watch the movies, we'll watch the shows, and it'll all work together. Like, it won't just be like, well, this director decided to go this way. No, Kevin Feige is gonna, and his group of guys and gals are gonna guide the ship, and that's the only sacred timeline that's going to be involved. And seeing it, like seeing that visual of the sacred timeline, like in the show, like breaking off in all the little branches.
Yeah.
I was like, somewhere in there is Tobey Maguire. Somewhere in there is, like all
Andrew
the little,
Garfield. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield and the others that they're
Topher
gonna.
Grace as Venom.
Somewhere are the X-Men.
We're not going to talk about Topher Grace as Venom.
Oh, okay. We
No.
won't. Let's not.
He's not real. He's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's exciting. It's
But
really
yeah,
cool.
the end of it. I mean, like Loki just like comes back
Oh, right.
and
Yeah.
runs into Mobius, and Mobius was like, "Who are you?" Like that's
that
when
was
my
that-
mind
I did not see that
blown.
coming. I was like,
That
wait,
hurt.
what?
Yes, you're right,
Yeah.
Mark. It did hurt because they did build that relationship
Yeah.
for 6 episodes, and Mobius really helped transform Loki into someone who cares rather than someone
Right.
who's in it for himself.
Yeah.
And that's what was portrayed. Yeah.
And then right after that, they show the statue of who we can only imagine is Kang the Conqueror, or one of the variants of
Sure.
Kang that's taken over this TVA. It was very reminiscent to me of the probably much maligned reboot of Planet of the Apes, where at the end he gets back to what he thinks is present Earth, and it's taken over by all the apes and stuff, and like
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln is actually a monkey or an ape. It had that same feel where Loki just looked over and saw that statue and was like, that wasn't there before. And so it's exciting.
Ads24 in the chat. He was one of the ones that came with Cross.
What's up, ads?
He says, I hope X-Men come across through the multiverse, and Evan Peters is actually Quicksilver, and that's why he was in WandaVision, because
Oh, man,
he
I
was
hope
the guy
so.
in Witness Protection. Yeah, I mean, this is their entry point for.
Could
they
be.
bought Fox, so this is how they bring the mutants. And it was interesting the other day that Hugh Jackman posted a picture of him with Kevin Feige, and a picture of, I think it was like a Boss Logic, if you've ever heard of Boss Logic.
Yes.
Yep.
Was. Yep.
It was an image of him, of Wolverine's hand with his claws out, both in the same in the same Twitter post.
Interesting.
Instagram post, right?
Or Instagram, yeah,
Yep.
something like that. And I was
Yep.
like, come on.
Come on.
Do it.
So yeah,
Do it.
this is their opening, and the other thing that's interesting, and I don't know if they'll play off this or not, but we know that part of this next track of Marvel movies, Fantastic Four, is
Yep.
part of that. Kang is supposedly a descendant of Reed Richards.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. So,
Spoilers.
I don't know if they'll touch that or not, but still.
I mean, come on. They might not. You never know.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I know some
They will.
Infinity Bros are still waiting for Mephisto to show up, and
Yep.
he's been a no-show so far. So you can throw out whatever you want about it. There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. I mean, like Marvel just like flips a script and keeps you on your toes. Yes, we know about the comics, but they're gonna show you it in a very different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, any final thoughts before my power goes out again? And
I'm excited. I'm excited to
Leave?
see what's
man.
in store for the next few movies
sure.
and Phase 4, and what Kang the Conqueror, how he comes into play. So I'm excited.
You
Still excited.
Yeah.
Phase 4. It's like yeah, the end game was amazing. It was a great ending. But they're gonna continue the story, and I'm still invested.
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I won't say that it's like a slam dunk that it's going to be just as good or better, but man, they adding the time thing and the multiverse and the way they've unveiled the multiverse.
Yeah.
I can't see it not being good, and I could see it going like the whole multiverse thing going on even longer than the Infinity Saga went, and just like holding on to that. Like, I don't think they're gonna just resolve this multiverse thing like they did with Infinity War in 20 movies. Like, it could go 40 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless,
Mhm.
multiple, infinite.
Mm-hmm.
I will sum up my final thoughts in this. You guys talked about with Space Jam. You talked about
Family.
Well, no, not specifically family. Although
Good
yes,
guess.
family was great.
Good guess.
No, you talked about James and the fact that he wanted to go out and play basketball after this. I want a temp pad. I want a TVA pruning baton.
Oh my, that's dark.
Whoa.
You want to prune people?
No,
That's
I
kinda-
want one. I want one here.
Jeez,
in my
Mark.
possession.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like,
an artifact.
I want to
Listen, you're
prune
not
people.
dying anyway. It's not like I'm killing you
I
when
mean,
I prune you.
aren't you? You're feeding them to
Unless
Elias.
Altair gets in your face, you may die.
Altair.
But yeah,
Purple
I just love
people
the
eater.
whole world and all the things, all the mythos they've made up about that, and I just love everything about the show. So yeah, was it an absolutely perfect show on every single little step? No, but I still give it a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10.
Good.
Nice. All right. Well, that's all for our low-key time with Loki.
I like it.
Nice.
As is tradition, some quick housekeeping where we offer towels, fluff pillows, topped with some Andes candies, and tip you off to the GMG news you need to know. The GMG stream team is more or less still at work from Sunday to Saturday. Marc is still going strong on Saturdays. Do you have what's the plan right now? I missed it. I know you've played Fortnite and Apex, but do you have anything on the
that's really all I've
horizon?
been playing. I don't have anything specific that I've lined up at this point.
He's partying up. So if you want to play Fortnite with good old Marc Boucher on Saturday nights or maybe Tuesday nights, or, just keep an eye out on the Discord and Twitter sphere, you can join him. Chris and myself are mainly doing our streams on pre and post sunrise mornings. He and I are both playing BioShock separately, of course, because it's a single player game. We will be getting the Diablo 3, 90% sure, Platinum on Wednesday.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah. And then we'll be starting the illustrious Borderlands 2, going through the Handsome Jack collection. And then, of course, I'm continuing Dead Cells 5BC on twitch.tv. So check all three of us out when you get the chance, morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Also, if you like tweeting on Twitter or discussing or discoursing on Discord, come hang out with us. You can find an invite in the show notes or on our Twitter page. You can click the link. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Stitcher, because it helps us find new joiners. And you can give us stars, exclamation marks, points. Why do I say exclamation marks? Is it exclamation marks with a C, or is it exclamation points?
What are we getting into here?
Giving people exclamation points or marks.
Exclamation
Which one
point
is it?
sounds right.
Well, you would say exclamation point. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more the merrier. Just ask Caleb with the Mountain Nerds. We like lots
Oh yeah. At
of
least
exclamation
9.
points. At least 9 of them. And then finally, you can always just give us a call. If you like to talk on the telephone, leave a voicemail, 929-GMG Guys. Let your voice be heard. And of course, and as always, speaking of what should be heard, Marcus, you got a little bit of little history to share with us?
Nope, we sure don't.
I know, I was
This
just
week.
kidding.
Okay, good.
I might have forgotten about that, but hey, most of the time, Marc has some Marc facts he drops for us. He will be continuing that next week. But to close out our movie GMG MAFT 100, our top 100 movie list that we will be unveiling next week, we have some nominations to share with you. And to lead into that, I first need to make a confession. I made a mistake. During the course of the past 25 episodes, I have made some very compulsive picks without really searching my soul, because
Ooh.
earlier today I went through my Blu-ray and DVD collection and realized I missed some movies. So I'm going to call some audibles
Oh,
just
okay.
I'm gonna toss out 3 of my movies and switch it for similar genres.
All right.
So I'm getting rid of What About Bob, and I'm replacing it with Liar Liar, because
Okay.
Jim Carrey is awesome.
Hold on. I'm trying to. I'm looking at right now. Did you do What About Bob?
You're setting
I
off a
may
Nexus
have-
event here,
You.
Lucas.
I don't see.
Gosh.
I don't see What About Bob on here.
I might have already changed it in the Google
You
Doc.
might have. Okay.
I'm tricky like that.
You did.
I'm getting rid of Soul. I like that movie. Good music, good soundtrack, good characters, and replacing it with Up.
Good.
Because
Okay.
who doesn't like
Yes. Up is better than Soul.
Up? Up is
I
way
agree
better than
with you.
Soul.
I agree with
And then the last one is I'm tossing out Mission Impossible 3. Sorry, Tom Cruise. And I'm switching it for The Prestige.
What
with
is
Hugh
that?
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Yeah. Oh.
Yes. So,
okay.
Christian Bale.
I needed to upgrade a few of my picks. Just throwing in a wrinkle there, causing some Nexus events, as Mark appropriately mentioned. And with that, that's my audibles. And
Okay.
then I'm gonna go ahead and throw out my nominations. My last 2, or wait, I have 3, don't I? My last 3 nominations are The Passion of the Christ,
Mm-hmm.
starring Jesus,
Good.
my best friend. Remember the Titans.
Okay.
And then my last pick is gonna have to be Shrek,
Okay.
because I remember watching that movie with my dad in the movie theater, just the 2 of us, and laughing so hard we were crying at the inappropriateness of Shrek. All right, there you go. My 3 picks.
Nice.
Nice.
So, how about you guys? What 2 picks you got for us? Let's go with Patrick. He's breathing in.
Yeah, my last 2 picks are
Drum roll.
Happy Gilmore
Ooh.
and Bruce Almighty.
There you go.
Yes. Oh, Bruce Almighty wasn't on there?
It was not.
Dang,
Yeah.
I'm glad you snuck that in. I love Bruce
Mhm.
Almighty.
Yeah. Last pick, Bruce Almighty.
Nice.
All
right.
right.
Mark.
And my 2 picks are The Dark Knight
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and Spider-Man Homecoming,
Nice.
because I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man and his first full
Agreed.
introduction to the MCU.
It
Not
was
counting,
good. Yep.
Not counting Civil War.
Good pick.
A fine pick indeed. Well,
And that rounds it out.
that rounds it out. Guys and gals, join us next week. It won't be a live stream, or
Nope.
it will be? Nope.
It won't.
It will be a podcast episode, though. So check us out next week. We will talk about our GMG MAFT, or our Good Morning Guys movie and film top 100, where the 4 of us, Ronnie, who's not with us but still contributed a plethora of movies, we'll be talking about our favorite 100 movies. We'll be ranking them and, sharing some anecdotes and why we love them so much, or why we maybe don't, because we all have different opinions, and so
Yeah.
it should be fun and exciting.
Sweet.
Do we have anything else to cover? Thanks to all of our joiners tonight. You
Yes.
in the chat.
Thanks
you
to everybody
beautiful
being
people,
in the
you.
chat.
Hugs and kisses from Brazil, from Virginia, from Ohio. Is that it? We're
That's
done.
it.
All right. Then I guess we'll close it out. Just want to make sure all hearts clear.
Yep.
Alrighty then, Pat and Mark and the spirit of Ronnie J, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
One, two, three, 4. One, 2, 3, 4.